Get a job in tech. Episode 173. Question. What tech jobs pay $200,000 a year or more? Answer. About 9 that I'm going to go over today. And these are types of jobs or types of in the industry, if you will. And let's go over them. The first industry is software engineering. So an example of a title would be senior software engineer or lead principal software engineer. Another field is data science and machine learning. 2 job titles are data scientist and machine learning engineer. Another field, project management. 2 titles in that field, senior project manager and director of product management. Another field, cloud architecture. 2 roles, cloud architect and a DevOps engineer. Next section, cybersecurity. 2 job titles, chief information security officer or security analyst. Security architect. Another field is engineering management and 2 jobs in engineering management that pay over $200K. Engineering manager and vice president of engineering. Another field, artificial intelligence and robotics. 2 job titles, AI research scientist and robotics engineer. Another field, blockchain development. Job title, blockchain developer. Next field, enterprise software sales. Job title, sales engineer and solution architect. Just to hit on one that's probably has a lot of, it's trending nowadays, is cybersecurity and AI and blockchain. So let's go over those. So the cybersecurity, you have the chief information security officer. That usually what they do is they develop the security strategy for the company and they implement within the company. So this is some of the training that goes on. Maybe you have the training that tells you what not to click on in emails. These usually come from this section of the company, not necessarily this person, but they'll oversee it. Another one is security architect under the cybersecurity realm, if you will. And they design security systems. So they design protocols and they design these things for large companies, such as a Bayer or a Google or an Amazon, and that's what they do. Cloud architecture, that's a type of job. So the cloud architect, so let's talk about that. So the cloud architect is usually someone who is well-versed, highly versed, or one could call an expert in cloud computing, such as Amazon Web Services, Azure, or Google Cloud. And they usually have worked in a field. They've had to design and scale large systems using a cloud environment. And you might, for example, you could say something like, this individual is cloud architect would be someone who, when a company migrates from a physical data center to the cloud or a portion of it, they would be the one to oversee that, make sure everything's good, it looks fine. They also handle the ingress and egress charges, meaning they factor that in when they're moving stuff to the cloud, because there are some fees involved in that. So these would be the individual who has the high-level management. They would also be the one who's like the worker bee, who actually can perform the tasks as well. Under cloud architecture, another one that's coming out and presenting itself to the marketplace ever so more is a DevOps engineer. So DevOps engineer is nothing more than, what they did was they took the systems admin role and they said, okay, let's take this role and let's make it more, let's focus on automation and let's optimize everything for the cloud infrastructure. And so what you have is you have your sysadmins who are now quote unquote DevOps engineers. That's usually what they move over into. So there's a couple different jobs out there. Blockchain developer, that one is probably going to be a big thing in a couple years, 5 or 6 years. But what I see with that is those individuals are going to be someone who probably can create a coin, like a crypto coin. They can create, they really understand how to read a contract, like a crypto, like a contract, a crypto coin contract. They also know how to integrate, let's say, they know how to integrate crypto into like a company, or they know how to integrate it into the marketplace. So this type of role, blockchain developer, I think it's going to be a big thing, and I think you're going to see a lot of individuals who are currently right now maybe making their own, building crypto themselves, or building their own coins, if you will, probably going to be in these roles. And later on, these type of jobs, obviously right now they pay over $200K. So in the future, it could be paying a lot more. And I have to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence, in that the AI research scientist and robotics engineer, I'm not too sure about the AI research scientist, how that works, but that seems very, very interesting in the future, as well as the robotics engineer. So what I can say about the robotics engineer, this is someone who, if you've ever been to a place where they have like a Walmart fulfillment center, let's say, or a Target fulfillment center, or a factory that has a device that has to read a barcode, and then it has to either, like, let's say for instance, like a FedEx. That's a good example. When you bring stuff in the FedEx to be shipped all over the world. So the hub is in Memphis, Tennessee. Is it Memphis? I think it's Memphis. I believe it's Memphis. Yeah. So they fly into Memphis with all the packages, and they put on this conveyor belt. And what happens is the camera robot, if you will, can read the barcode and know, okay, it's going to this section. So then you being the robotics engineer will be the one to teach or configure the belt, the automated system. It'll take that package and ship it, like it's going to New York. Okay, automatically go to the left. And if it's going to California, I'll make it go to the right. So it'll just put it in a different bin. And your job is to just program that to read barcodes. It'll read a certain barcode, or it'll know how to do it. And that's your job. Robotics engineer could also be used in the semiconductor industry. So for instance, a lot of the processor in your computer, the chip, the Intel chip or AMD or whatever, who makes it, that chip itself is part of a wafer. So in the semiconductor industry, they have wafers. The wafer is usually like 400 millimeter, 300 millimeter. I believe. Okay, so the large wafer. And what happens is there's about 500 or so or more of the processors on each wafer. And your role as just a small little task as a robotics engineer is to teach the plating tool, to pick up the wafer, move it to a section, then the other system does something to it, plates it, maybe does PECVD, maybe does litho, maybe does whatever, etch it around the edges, whatever. And then it takes the wafer out, moves it to another section, maybe the annealing chamber or something like that, and then it moves it into the FOUP. So your job is to program that robot to do all that, essentially, and you just do it in steps. So you're teaching the robot, and then the robot does an action. That's essentially what a robotics engineer is. It's a little more than that, but at the basic level, those are the type of skills. So thanks a lot for listening, and have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.